It wasn't an ordinary cry. It was that kind of muffled, choked sob, like she was trying to disappear along with the sound. I woke up to the sound of the tap dripping, click, 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 and that heavy silence that comes before something really breaks. I got up slowly, stepping on my toes so as not to wake my younger brother, and went to the bathroom door. The light was on, but the crack under the door only showed her shadow sitting on the floor, leaning against the sink. I placed my forehead against the wood and listened. Why does he do this to me? Her voice was so low that I almost didn't move, but I listened, and I never forgot it. I stood there for a few minutes, not knowing whether to go in, knock on the door, or pretend I hadn't heard anything. My heart was beating so hard that I could feel it in my neck, in my throat. I wanted to hug her. I wanted to say everything was fine, but I didn't know if I was. So I went back to my room and stayed up until the sun came up. My name is Laura. Today I'm 22 years old. I have a degree in pedagogy, and I live alone in a small apartment close to the college where I work. But at that time, I was just a girl with my hair tied up with a colored elastic, a loose school uniform, and a backpack that was too heavy for my age. And my mother was everything to me. Her name was Vera. 34 years old, brown hair always tied in a practical ponytail, hands calloused from washing, cooking, repairing. She worked as a seamstress at home, making custom clothes for neighbors, adjusting party dresses, hemming pants. I woke up before everyone else, slept after everyone else. She never complained, at least not in front of us. I remember her humming while she sewed, old songs that her grandmother used to sing. Sometimes I would sit on the floor in her little room, doing homework, just to hear her voice mixed with the noise of the sewing machine. She had a beautiful smile, tired but beautiful, and she always smelled like laundry detergent and coffee. My father, Marcelo, was an automotive parts salesman, traveled a lot, or at least that's what he said. He has always been one of those men who thinks that working outside the home is enough, that paying the bills is enough, that being present is optional. He didn't help around the house. I didn't ask how her day was. I didn't praise the food, not noticed when she cut her hair. He just existed and expected to be served. But that night, something had changed. I didn't know what it was, but I felt it. The next morning, I woke up to the smell of coffee and bread on the grill. My mother was in the kitchen, with her back turned, stirring the pan with one hand and holding her cell phone with the other. Her face was swollen. The eyes are red. "Good morning, Mom," I said softly, sitting in my usual chair. She turned and forced a smile. "Good morning, my love. Did you sleep well?" I nodded, but I didn't believe her. Mothers are bad liars when they are hurt. "And you?" I asked, trying to sound casual. She looked away. I'm great. Why? Your eyes are so red." "Oh, it's allergies. It must be dust." But I knew it wasn't. My brother Pedro, aged 7, ran out of the room with the video game controller in his hand, shouting that he had passed the level. My mother served his coffee, ruffled his hair lovingly, placed the plate in front of him. "Here, champion. Eat everything to stay strong." He smiled at her with a mouthful of bread. And my father? My father was sitting in the living room, in his pajamas, watching the news. He didn't even look at the kitchen. I didn't even say good morning. My mother brought him coffee on a tray, with warm bread, butter, freshly squeezed orange juice. She placed it on the coffee table, carefully. He took it without looking at her. "It's cold," he said, and pushed the plate back. She took a deep breath. "I just took it off the plate, Marcelo. I said it's cold, but I literally—" "Vera, don't argue with me early in the morning. Go there and warm up properly." She took the plate back. The hands were shaking a little. He took it to the kitchen and heated it up again. It returned. He placed it in front of him. He ate it without saying thank you. And I stood there, with the spoon still in the air, feeling something tighten in my chest. Something I didn't know how to name yet, but it hurt. My brother didn't even notice. He was too busy putting together a cookie tower. But I noticed. I always noticed. It was that week that I started to notice things. How my father arrived late. How he didn't kiss my mother when he came in. How he took long showers and locked his cell phone with a new password every week. How he smiled at the phone screen, but never for her. One night I was in the hallway when I heard him talking quietly in his room. The door was ajar. I approached slowly. "No, love, she doesn't suspect anything," he said, laughing softly. I know. I also wish I were there now, but we'll see you tomorrow, okay?" My stomach turned. "Love?" I looked at the kitchen. My mother was there, washing the dinner dishes alone, as always. And he was in the room, calling someone else love. On Thursday, my mother was sewing a wedding dress for a client. It was beautiful, white, with hand-embroidered lace. She had spent 3 weeks on this. Her fingers bled twice from piercing them with the needle. I saw her put band-aids on her fingers and carry on, non-stop, because she had promised to deliver on time. When she finished, she showed it to him. "What did you think?" she asked, with a shy gleam in her eyes. "I think it's the best I've ever done." He barely looked. "Beautiful. But you won't get paid as much as you should for this, right? It's always too cheap." She lowered her head. It's just that the girl is having difficulty. She's a single mother. She just lost her job. You always have an excuse, Vera. That's why we never leave the place. Marcelo, I'm doing the best I can. Your best doesn't pay the bill." And he went back to using his cell phone. I watched my mother put away the dress in silence. I saw her swallow the words she wanted to say. I saw her disappear into the room with teary eyes, and I wanted to scream, but I didn't scream. Because I was just a kid, and children don't know what to do when they see their mother breaking down. That night, I hugged her as she cried softly on my shoulder. "Mom, why do you let him talk to you like that?" She wiped away her tears. "He's stressed about work, daughter. It's not personal, but it was. I knew it was." On Saturday, my father left early. He said he had a work meeting. I would come back at night. My mother tidied the entire house, washed clothes, ironed, folded. He made a complete lunch: rice, beans, onion steak, farofa, salad. He set the table beautifully, with fabric napkin and everything. "Today I want to make a special lunch," she said, smiling at me. It's been a while since we all sat together. She did her best. He even made dessert, milk pudding. She waited. 1 hour, 2, 3. I stayed with her in the kitchen. The food got cold. The pudding sat in the fridge. At 5 in the afternoon, he sent a message. "I'm going out to dinner. Don't wait for me." My mother read it. He locked his cell phone. He sat on the kitchen chair, and it stayed there. Stop. Looking at the table full of food that no one was going to eat, I sat next to her and held her hand. "Mom, do you want me to heat your plate?" She squeezed my hand back. "I'm not hungry, daughter, but you worked all day to do this." "I know." He didn't even warn me properly. She didn't respond. He just stood there, looking at the empty table, and I felt so angry that my chest hurt. But I knew it wasn't hunger that she was missing. It was something else. Of that night, he arrived almost midnight. He went straight up to his room without saying anything. My mother was in the living room, sewing. He walked past her as if she were invisible. "Marcelo," she called softly. He stopped, but didn't turn. "What it was? Where were you?" "I already told you. Meeting. Until then, Vera, don't start. I just want to know. You want to control me. It's different. I don't want to control you. I'm tired. Good night." And it went up. She stood there alone with the needle still in her hand. I saw everything from the stairs, and I wanted to go down and scream at him, but I didn't know how. The next day, Sunday, he woke up late, had breakfast alone, and went out again. He said he was going to play ball with his friends, but he came back smelling like perfume, a sweet scent, feminine, floral. That wasn't my mother's. My mother used a neutral moisturizer, no smell, because she had allergies. She felt it. I saw her face change when he walked past her to get water from the kitchen. She stopped stirring the pot. It stopped, just feeling. She didn't say anything, but something inside her broke at that moment. I saw it in her eyes, and that's when everything really started to fall apart. On Monday, my mother asked me to get a notebook that had been left in my father's car. He had gone to take a shower, and I ran downstairs. I opened the car door, and I saw it. In the back seat, there was a gift box, wrapped with gold paper, red bow, beautiful, face, and a note on top. I took the ticket. My hand shook. "For you, who really makes me happy. I love you, M." My heart stopped. I reread it. "I love you." My father never wrote a note to my mother. He never gave her a present, not even on your birthday, not even on Mother's Day. Last Mother's Day, he didn't even remember. My mother pretended it didn't matter, but I saw her holding back her tears when she thought no one was watching. And now he was giving a gift to someone else, with bow, with ticket, with "I love you." I took the ticket U. I doubled it. I hid it in my shorts pocket. I went up slowly, handed the notebook to my mother. She thanked him, distracted, and went back to sewing. And I went to my room. I sat on the bed. I opened the note again, reread, reread. The tears came down on their own. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know whether to tell her. I didn't know if she already knew and was just pretending not to. But at that moment, one thing I knew. My father was cheating on my mother. And the truth always finds a way to scream. Even when we try to suppress it, even when we are afraid to listen. I kept the note inside my math notebook, between the pages of fractions and problems that I could never solve correctly. Every night before going to sleep, I opened it and reread it. "For you, who really makes me happy. I love you, M." Every time I read it, my chest tightened more. I wanted to tell my mother. I wanted to take her by the hand, show her the paper, and say, "Look, Mom, look what I found." But what if she already knew? What if she was pretending she didn't know because she didn't have the courage to face it? What if I told her, and she broke down for good? So I was silent, and I started to observe. Over the next few days, I became a detective of sorts. I paid attention to everything, just as my father arrived, the way he used his cell phone, in the tone of voice he used when he spoke to her, and when he spoke on the phone. On Tuesday, he arrived at 9 in the evening. My mother was in the living room, watching a soap opera. "Hi," she said. without taking her eyes off the TV. He didn't even respond. He went straight to the room. She turned off the TV. He got up. He went after him. I pretended I was doing homework at the kitchen table, but I left the door ajar to listen. Marcelo, we need to talk. Not now, Vera. I'm tired. You're always tired, because I work all day to support this house. You should be grateful instead of boring me. I'm not bothering you. I just want to know where do I what? Silence. Nothing. He forgets. She left the room and went back to the living room. He sat on the sofa. She stood there, standing still, looking into space. I closed the notebook and went to her. Mom, are you okay? She blinked quickly, as if returning from a distant place. Okay, daughter. Just tired. But I knew it wasn't. On Wednesday, I woke up early in the morning feeling thirsty. I went down to the kitchen and heard my father's voice in the yard. He was on the phone. I know, love. I miss you too, he said softly, laughing. Tomorrow I'll figure it out. I come up with something and leave early. My stomach turned. I approached the window slowly. He was leaning against the wall with his back turned, smoking. He didn't even smoke, at least not in front of us. She doesn't suspect anything. She can rest assured. I know how to take care of myself. I held my breath. I love you too. Goodbye. He hung up. He stood there, smiling to himself, and then he went back inside. I ran to my room before he saw me. I lay in bed with my heart beating so hard that I could hear the sound in my ears. She doesn't suspect anything, but I was suspicious, and now I was sure. On Thursday, I decided to look for more clues. My father had left early, as always. My mother was in her room, sewing. Pedro was at school. I went up to my parents' room. My heart was racing. I had never done that. I had never looked through their things, but I needed to know. I opened his dresser drawer. Folded shirts, underwear, socks. Nothing. The second drawer. Documents, pens, old glasses. The third, and there, at the bottom, under a folder, I saw it. A cell phone, an old cell phone, which I had never seen him use. I took it with shaking hands. I tried calling. Screen on. No password. I opened the messages, and I saw everything. Conversations, photos. I love you. I can't wait to see you. You are the best thing that happened in my life. And photos. Photos of him with a woman. Blonde. Big smile. Hugging him. Kissing him. Wearing the necklace he said he lost at work. I felt the tears coming down on their own. I wanted to throw that cell phone out the window. I wanted to scream. I wanted to break everything. But I just hung up. I put it back. I closed the drawer. And I went down. My mother was in the kitchen, preparing lunch. Hey, my love, want to help peel the potato? I looked at her. For that woman who woke up every day before the sun, who worked until his fingers bled, who did everything for us, and that she was being betrayed. Mom, can I ask you something? She stopped stirring the pot and looked at me. Of course, daughter. What it was? I took a deep breath. Are you happy? She blinked. He forced a smile. What question is that? Just answer. She looked away. He stirred the pan again. Happiness is a complicated thing, Laura. We do what we can with what we have. But do you feel loved? She stopped again. From this once he didn't look at me. Why are you asking this? For nothing. Just curiosity. Silence. I have you and Pedro. That's already a lot of love. But she didn't mention my father, and I realized that she knew, or at least he felt it. That night, I didn't make it to dinner. I kept pushing the food on my plate until my mother asked if I was feeling sick. My father ate quickly, took the car keys and said, I'm going out for a bit. I'll be back late. My mother didn't even ask where. He just nodded. I saw the sadness in her eyes, that tired resignation of someone who has already given up fighting, and it broke me. Over the weekend, my mother tried to do a family program. Shall we go to the park? It's been a while since we went out together, she suggested on Saturday morning. I have to sort out some things, my father replied, without looking up from his cell phone. What things? It's Saturday. Work stuff, Vera. You don't understand. I understand that you never have time for us. He looked up, cold. I have time to work and pay the bills. If that's not enough for you, that's your problem. She bit her lip. He lowered his head. It's okay. He left, and she stayed there, at the table, with her coffee half finished. Pedro and I went to the park with her. We tried to make her laugh. Pedro invented jokes. I pushed her on the swing, like she did to me when I was little. She smiled, but it was a sad smile, a smile that didn't reach the eyes. I remember when I was younger, when she and my father still got along well, or at least they seemed to. I was 6 years old. We were at the beach, she in a pink bikini, laughing loudly, running in the sand with us. My father took a photo of her, and he said, You look beautiful, Vera. She blushed, smiled, kissed him. I remember thinking, I want to be like them when I grow up. Now, at 11 years old, I looked at them and thought, I never want to be like that, because they were no longer a couple. It was a woman carrying everything alone, and a man who had already left inside. The following Monday, my father forgot his wallet at home. My mother asked me to take it to the parts store where he worked. I took a bus with her. The store was on the other side of town. When we arrived, the girl at the counter looked at us with a strange face. Can I help? I came to bring Marcelo his wallet, my mother said, smiling. The girl frowned. Marcelo? He's not here today. My mother blinked. Like this? He took the day off. He said he was going to sort out some personal things. My mother turned white. Oh, I understood. Sorry, it must have been my confusion. We left. On the bus back, she was silent the entire time. I held her hand. Mother, don't say anything now, Laura, please. And she started to cry. There, on the full bus, with people watching, she cried, and I didn't know what to do other than hold her hand tightly. When we got home, my father was there, sitting on the sofa, as if nothing had happened. My mother came in, put her wallet on the table, and went straight to the bedroom. He didn't even notice that she had cried. He didn't even ask where we had gone. He just took his wallet and said, "It cost," and he went back to his cell phone. I stood there, standing in the room, looking at him, and for the first time in my life, I felt angry at my own father. That night, I heard my mother crying again in the bathroom, but this time, I entered. I knocked on the door. "Mom, open it." She opened it. The swollen eyes, the wet face. I hugged her. "I know, Mom." She stiffened. "You know what? I know he's cheating on you." She walked away. He looked me in the eyes, and it collapsed. How do you know?" I took the ticket out of my pocket. I showed it to her. She read it, and it collapsed once and for all. She sat on the bathroom floor and cried like I had never seen her cry, and I cried together, because at that moment, I realized she was no longer alone, and the truth had screamed. After that night in the bathroom, everything changed. Not in the way I expected, not with shouting or slamming doors. It changed in silence. My mother did not confront my father that day, not in the other. She kept the note I had given her, put it in a locked drawer, and continued, making coffee, washing clothes, sewing. But she was no longer the same. She didn't smile anymore. I didn't hum while sewing. I didn't look at him fondly. She looked with something different, something I only learned to name years later. Disappointment. On Tuesday, my father came home and my mother was in the kitchen, preparing dinner. "Hi," he said, throwing his car keys on the table. "Hi," she replied, without looking. He went to the couch. He turned on the TV. She served dinner. He placed the plate in front of him. He ate, not to mention When he finished, he got up and went to the bedroom. "Marcelo," she called. He stopped. "What it was? We need to talk." "About what?" "About us." He sighed. "Vera, I'm tired. Tomorrow we'll talk. You're always tired. There's always an excuse. Because I work, Vera. Unlike you, who stays at home all day." She swallowed hard. "I stay at home working too. Sewing, taking care of children, washing, cooking, tidying. This isn't real work. Doesn't pay the bill, but it helps, and you never recognize it." He rolled his eyes. "Look, I'm not going to stay here arguing with you because of coolness. If you want something, speak up." She took a deep breath. "Where were you Saturday afternoon?" It crashed. "Like this? You said you were going to the store, but when I went there to take your wallet, they told me that you had taken the day off." Silence. "Who told you that?" "The girl at the counter." "She's wrong. Yes, I was there. Marcelo, she was very clear. I said she's wrong," he shouted. Pedro and I were in the room. Pedro got up scared. I took his hand. "Are you calling me a liar?" My father continued, his voice louder. "After everything I do for this family, I'm not calling you a liar. I just want to understand. You don't want to understand. You want to control me, and I won't accept that." He went up the stairs, stamping his foot. "This conversation is over," and he locked the bedroom door. My mother stood there, alone in the middle of the room. She looked at me, and I saw it. I saw the hurt, the anger, the exhaustion. But I also saw something else, determination. The next day, she began to act. In the morning, while my father was taking a shower, she took his cell phone. You wrote down the password, checked the messages, and he took a photo of everything. Conversations with each other, the photos, the I love you ones, plans to meet. She saved everything in a folder on her cell phone. When he got out of the shower, his cell phone was back on the nightstand, as if nothing had happened. She told me this later, in the sewing room. "Mom, what are you going to do?" I asked, scared. "I don't know yet," she said, sewing without stopping, "but I'm not going to stay quiet anymore." And that week, she started researching divorce, read articles on the internet, joined groups of betrayed women on Facebook. She wrote everything down in a notebook that she hid in the drawer of her little room. She also started saving money. I kept a few notes here and there, hidden inside an old cookie jar in the kitchen cupboard, and she stopped doing things for him. I no longer made special coffee. He didn't take a tray. I didn't wash his clothes carefully. She did the basics, and that's it. My father didn't even notice, or pretended not to notice. It was on Saturday that my mother did something that I will never forget. My father was going out again. He said he had an appointment. But my mother already knew where he was going. She had read the messages. I knew he was going to meet the other woman at a motel on the outskirts of town. Before he left, he went to take a shower, and it was there that my mother acted. She went into his bathroom after he left, took the little bottle of hair gel that he used every day, that imported gel that he bought on the internet and thought was great, and changed the contents by glue, white school glue. She emptied the pot, washed the inside carefully, dried it, and filled it with glue. It closed very well. He left everything as it was. "Mom, what did you do?" I asked, watching her wash her hands in the kitchen. She looked at me. "A silent revenge," she said, with a bitter half-smile. "He's going to look ridiculous. And maybe he will learn." I was in shock. "But Mom, what if—" "Laura, he's humiliating me every day. You're cheating on me. You're treating me like I'm worthless. I just want him to feel, at least once, what it's like to be humiliated." And she went back to washing the dishes, as if nothing had happened. On Sunday morning, my father woke up early, tidier than usual. Perfume, new clothes. He went to the bathroom, took a shower, and used the gel. My mother and I were in the kitchen when we heard, "What the hell is that?" my father shouted from above. My mother looked at me, eyes wide. He ran downstairs, his hair all stuck together, hard, shining in a strange way. "What did you do with my gel?" My mother pretended innocence. "I didn't change anything. My hair is stuck. It's hard. Don't leave." He ran to the bathroom again. He turned on the shower, tried to wash, but it didn't come out. The glue had dried, stuck in the wires. He tried shampooing, conditioner, soap, nothing. The hair was still stuck together, stoned, as if cement had been applied. "It's true," he shouted, going down again, soaked, desperate. "You did this on purpose." "I didn't do anything," she said calmly. "Maybe the gel was defeated." "Defeated? This is glue. I know it's glue." "Then you must have bought it wrong." He tried again, and again, and again, but the hair wouldn't let go, and he had an appointment, or better yet, a date. My father ended up leaving anyway, with hair stuck together, hard, ridiculous. My mother and I stayed at home, tense, waiting. "Mom, what if he finds out it was you?" "He won't find out," she said, but her voice shook a little. Hours later, around 3 in the afternoon, the phone rang. It was his wife, the other, but she didn't know that my mother had found out. "Hello?" My mother answered. "Hi, is it Vera?" The voice was sweet. "False. I am. Look, I'm Marcelo's friend. He's here with me and he's feeling sick. His hair is stuck with something and we can't get it out. We're going to the hospital." My mother paused. "Hospital? Yeah, he's desperate. I think he had an allergic reaction to some product." My mother was silent. I saw the conflict on her face. Part of her wanted to laugh. Part of her was scared. "Okay, thanks for letting me know," she said, and hung up. And then she laughed. Not a happy laugh, a tired laugh, ironic, almost sad. "Mom, do you think he'll be okay?" "Go," she said. "But he will never underestimate me again." Then my father came home late in the afternoon. The hair had been shaved. Completely. He was bald. He entered the house without saying anything. He went straight up to the room. He locked the door. My mother stayed in the room, quiet. I sat next to her. "Did you regret it?" I asked softly. She thought. "No," she said. "But now I know he won't ignore me anymore." The next day, my father went down to the kitchen, bald, serious, bravo. My mother was making coffee. "We need to talk," he said. "Now do you want to talk?" she replied without looking. "Vera, I know it was you." She turned. "Do you know what?" "From the glue. In my gel. Do you have proof? It crashed." I know it was you." "Then sue me," she said firmly. "But first maybe we can talk about Jessica." He turned pale. "Who?" "Jessica. The woman you're betraying your entire family to be with." Silence. "You think I don't know, Marcelo? Do you think I'm stupid?" He didn't respond. "I have the messages. The photos. All." He swallowed hard. "Vera, no. Now you listen to me. I spent years taking care of you. From us. From this house. And you treat me like dirt. It humiliates me. Betray me. And you still think I'm going to stay quiet? I can explain. I don't want an explanation. I want you to leave." He blinked. "What?" "Get out of my house. Our house, Vera. No, mine. Because I'm the one who keeps her standing. I take care. I'm the one who makes everything work. You just sleep here." He took a step forward. "You can't kick me out. I can. And I will. And the children? The children stay with me, where they always stayed." He looked at me. I was standing at the kitchen door, Pedro by my side. "Laura, tell your mother to stop it," he asked. I looked at him, for the man I admired when I was little, and I felt nothing. "I think you should go, Dad," I said, softly. And he noticed that he had lost everything. My father didn't go out that day. He went up to his room, locked the door, and stayed there. My mother didn't insist either. She went back to the kitchen, finished her coffee, and continued her day as if nothing had happened. But something had changed. She was no longer afraid. Over the next few days, the glue story spread. I don't know how. Maybe Jessica told someone. Maybe someone from the hospital. Or maybe my father himself, trying to play the victim. But everyone found out. At school, Mother started to look at me differently. Some laughed. Others whispered as I passed. At the market, the neighbor on the corner stopped my mother. "Vera, is it true that you put glue in Marcelo's hair?" My mother smiled slightly. "He put it in alone. Must have got the pots mixed up." The woman laughed. "Oh, I know. But everyone is commenting. They say he spent hours in the hospital. Even the firefighters were called." My mother pretended to be surprised. "Firemen?" "Yes, because at the hospital they couldn't remove the glue. So they called the firefighters to see if they could cut the hair with some special tool. In the end, they shaved everything off. The man came out of there looking like an egg," and she laughed even more. My mother also laughed. But when the woman left, she held my hand tightly. "Mom, are you okay?" "Okay, daughter. It is good too." But I knew it wasn't, because now the truth had screamed, and everyone had heard. My father didn't like it. He came home from work on Wednesday, still bald, with a cap to hide it. He entered the house with a frown. "Vera, are you happy now?" he began, throwing the key on the table. "Everyone in the company is laughing at me. Everyone. And you think I'm guilty of this?" she replied, without stopping cutting onions. "You put glue in my hair. Do you have proof?" "I know it was you." "Then sue me." He punched the table. "You're humiliating me, Vera. In public. Everyone is laughing at me." She stopped. He dropped the knife. He turned to him. "Funny, right? You've humiliated me for years and it's okay. But when I do something, it becomes a problem. I never humiliated you." "No." She took a step forward. "Haven't you cheated on me for months? Don't you call me useless? Don't you treat me like a maid? Don't you ignore me in front of the children? That's different." "How is it different, Marcelo? Explain it to me." He didn't respond, because there was no answer. "You humiliated me into silence," my mother continued, her voice firm. "I humiliated you in public. Now we're even." And he went back to cutting the onion. He stood there, red with anger, and then he left, slamming the door. It was that week that my mother sought help. She went to the city law office. A lawyer named Dr. Simone, who was known for defending women in divorce cases. I went with her. Dr. Simone was a woman of about 40, with short hair, prescription glasses, a serious but gentle posture. "Vera, tell me everything from the beginning," she asked, opening the notebook. And my mother told me. The betrayal, the humiliations, the messages, the photos, the money he spent on the other, the trips he invented. She showed the evidence. Prints of conversations, photos, motel receipts. Dr. Simone wrote everything down. "You have a strong case," she said at the end. "He committed adultery. There is proof. And do you have witnesses?" "My daughters," my mother said, looking at me. I nodded. "Then let's move on. We are going to file for divorce and full custody of the children." My mother took a deep breath. "Can I do this?" The lawyer smiled. "You can't just do it. You will win." But my father did not remain silent. When he received the divorce notice, he exploded. He tore up the papers in front of my mother. He shouted, threatened, "You will not take my daughters from me. I'm not taking it off. You who walked away alone. I'm going to fight, Vera. I will destroy you in justice. Then fight. But it brings proof, because I have all mine." And she showed him his cell phone, the cell phone she had photographed, with all the conversations. He turned pale. You invaded my privacy, and you betrayed our marriage. Which of the two is worse?" He didn't know what to say. The hearing was scheduled for 3 weeks from now. In the meantime, my father began spreading lies. He told his relatives that my mother was crazy, that she had put glue in his hair on purpose, that it was dangerous, that he was afraid of her. He tried to become the victim, and some people believed it. His mother, my paternal grandmother, called my mother. "Vera, Marcelo is saying that you are aggressive, that he's turning the girls against him. He's lying, Dona Rosa. But he is my son. I know him." "Then you don't really know. How can you talk like that?" "Because he's been cheating on me for months, and I have proof." Silence on the other side. "Cheating? With whom?" "With a woman named Jessica. Want to see the photos?" Grandma hung up, and he didn't call again. On the day of the hearing, my mother woke up early, got ready. She put on a simple but beautiful dress, tied up her hair. She was nervous. I saw her hands shaking as she applied lipstick. "Mom, everything will be fine," I said, holding her hand. She looked at me. "I know, daughter, but it's scary. You are strong. Stronger than him." She smiled. "Thank you, my love." The hearing was in a small forum, cramped room, uncomfortable chairs, broken air conditioning. My father arrived in a suit, hair starting to grow back but still too short. He looked smaller without his hair. Jessica was with him, blonde, makeup, in heels. She looked at my mother with contempt. My mother looked back, firm. The judge entered, a serious middle-aged woman, glasses on the tip of her nose. "Good morning. Let's get started." My father's lawyer spoke first. He said he was a present father who worked hard, that my mother was unstable, that he had attacked him. "Attacked?" the judge asked. "Yes, Your Honor. She put glue in his hair. He had to be taken to the hospital. Even the firefighters were called. Some people in the room laughed softly. The judge banged the gavel. Silence. Then it was Dr. Simone's turn. She presented everything. The messages, the photos, motel receipts, excessive spending, the witnesses. And then he called me. "Laura, can you come closer?" I got up. My heart was racing. The judge looked at me. "How old are you?" 11, ma'am. "And do you live with your parents?" "Yes." "Is your father present?" I looked at him. He looked back at me, as if begging me to lie. But I didn't lie. "No, ma'am, he is not." "Can you explain?" "He's almost never home, and when he is, he doesn't talk to us. Don't play with my brother. It doesn't help my mother. He just exists." The judge noted it. "And your mother?" "My mother is everything. She takes care of us, works all day, makes food, washes clothes, helps with homework. She never gives up on us." The judge looked at my mother, and then to my father. "Mr. Marcello, do you have anything to say?" He got up. I love my daughters. I work for them. But do you have an extramarital relationship?" He hesitated. Yes or no?" Silence. "Yes." The judge closed the file. "I will analyze the evidence and give my sentence soon. But Mr. Marcello, you don't seem like a present father to me. And adultery is a serious offense. You can sit down." He sat down, defeated, and I saw it. I saw my mother breathe a sigh of relief. I saw the pride return to her eyes. When we left the forum, my father came after us. "Vera, wait." She stopped. "What do you want? Can we talk? Try to resolve this?" "Solve? Marcello, you destroyed everything. There's nothing left to resolve. I still love you." She laughed, a sad laugh. "You never loved me. You just used me," and turned his back. But he held her arm. "If you keep up with this, I'll make you regret it." Dr. Simone appeared among them. "Let her go. Now." He let go. "This isn't over," he said angrily, and he left. My mother looked at the lawyer. "Can he do anything?" "He can try, but he won't make it." And that night, at home, my mother hugged me tightly. "Thank you, Laura, for everything. I only told the truth, Mother." "I know, and it was the truth that saved me." And she cried. But this time, it wasn't sadness. It was relief. But the next day, something happened. A letter arrived. A letter from my father's lawyer, saying he was going to ask for shared custody, and that he was going to claim that my mother was mentally unstable, that he had attacked him, who turned his daughters against him, and that he had witnesses. My mother read it and sat on the floor. "He won't give up," she whispered. "Mother, he will try to destroy me until the end." And she looked at me with eyes full of fear, because she knew the war was not over yet. The sentence came 2 weeks later. My mother received it in the mail. She opened the envelope with her hands shaking. Pedro and I were on her side. She read in silence, eyes running across the lines. Once, twice, and then she smiled. "We won," she whispered. "What did you win, Mom?" Pedro asked. "Everything, my son. We won everything." The judge had granted the divorce, full custody of the children for my mother, alimony. What's more, she had ordered my father to pay compensation for moral damages. He had lost, completely. When my father received the sentence, he tried to appeal. He hired another lawyer. He spent money he didn't have. He got into debt, but it was no use. The second hearing was even worse for him. Dr. Simone presented more evidence. Messages from him threatening my mother, audios of him swearing at her on the phone, witnesses who confirmed the betrayal. And the icing on the cake, Jessica, the lover, was called to testify. She arrived in heels and heavy makeup. She sat in the chair as if she owned the world. The judge asked, "Did you know that Mr. Marcello was married?" "I knew," she replied, without shame. "And you still had a relationship with him?" "Yes, because he said the marriage was over, that his wife was no good." My mother shook the lawyer's hand. I saw the anger in her eyes, but she didn't say anything. The judge continued, "And do you think that justifies it?" Jessica shrugged. "Everyone knows their own business." The judge took off her glasses. He looked at her with contempt. "You can leave." Jessica came out swinging, but when she passed my mother looked at her and said softly, "He's going to do the same thing to you. One day you will understand." Jessica stopped. She turned pale, but he didn't respond, and left. "But, Mom." The final sentence was read the following week. My father was ordered to pay full child support for his 2 daughters. He lost the right to live in the house. He had to return all the jewelry and valuables he had given to Jessica because they had been purchased with family money. What's more, he was forced to pay 10,000 reis in compensation to my mother for moral damages. He didn't have that money, so he had to sell the car. When my mother found out, she didn't celebrate. She just breathed fooing and said, "Justice has been done." My father tried to return home one last time. It was on a Thursday night. He knocked on the door. My mother opened it. "What do you want, Marcello?" I wanted to apologize." She crossed her arms. "Sorry? Which part? For betraying me? For humiliating me? For trying to take my daughters away from me?" He lowered his head. "For everything." "You're not sorry. You're just defeated. Vera, I lost everything. My car, my money, my dignity. Welcome to the club, because I lost all of this years ago. The difference is that I rebuilt it alone." He looked at her, and for the first time, I saw something in his eyes. Shame. I was an idiot, he said. He was, but now it's too late. Can I see the girls? My mother thought. He can, but by appointment, and always with respect. If you step out of line, I'll cut off contact. Did you understand? He nodded. I understood, and he left. That was the last time he tried to rule our house. Over time, things got better. My mother got more sewing clients. She took an online fashion design course. He started selling clothes online. We moved to a smaller but more cozy house, without the bad memories, without the weight of the past. Pedro started to smile more. He had been very quiet throughout the divorce process, but now he was back to playing, laughing, being a child again. And I learned a lot. I learned that love is not about holding on. I learned that forgiving does not mean accepting everything. I learned that a mother is not a saint. A mother is a human being. And sometimes being human means taking revenge. It means putting glue in your unfaithful husband's hair gel and letting him embarrass himself in front of everyone. And I don't judge her for that, because at that moment, she wasn't wrong. She was just tired of being right and being invisible. The years later, when I was already in college, I met Jessica by chance. She was in a market, pushing an empty cart, with a tired face. The blonde hair was dull, the nails peeled. She recognized me. Hi, you're Laura, right? I am. Vera's daughter. That's right. She looked away. How is she? Good. Very good, actually. Jessica nodded, a little embarrassed. And Marcelo? I gave a half smile. He left you, didn't he? She blushed. How do you know? Because my mother warned you. Remember? She swallowed hard. I remember. He did the same thing to you. Cheated. Lied. Used you. She nodded slowly, her eyes teary. I should have listened. Yeah, it should. And I left. Because I didn't feel sorry for her. She had made a choice, and every choice has consequences. Main Tatinas today, at 22 years old, I look back and see everything with different eyes. I see an 11-year-old girl who discovered the note in her father's car and didn't know what to do with that truth. I see an exhausted mother who decided she wasn't going to be stepped on anymore, who swapped her husband's gel for glue and watched him embarrass himself in public. And yes, it was wrong, but it was human, because sometimes the truth doesn't whisper. Sometimes she screams, and that's exactly what happened. The truth screamed. At the hospital, when the doctors couldn't remove the glue and called the fire department. At the hearing, when the evidence was presented. On the streets, when everyone found out. And in the heart of an 11-year-old daughter who learned that year that self-love is not selfishness, it's survival. And today, my mother has a small studio in the city center. She makes custom wedding dresses. She is known, respected, happy. She never married again. She said she doesn't need any man to be complete. And I believe her, because she was always complete. It just took time to realize. But my father, he appears every now and then, visit us at Christmas, on the girls' birthdays. He is polite, distant, kind of bland. He never tried to order anything again, and we never left. And sometimes when I'm alone, I pull out that old note that I kept all those years ago. For you, who really makes me happy. I love you, M. And I think, if I hadn't found that note, would my mother have discovered it on her own? Would she have had the courage to leave? I don't know, but I know that that piece of paper changed everything. Because the truth always finds a way to scream, even when we try to suppress it, even when we are afraid to listen. And if there's one thing I want you, who's listening to me right now, to understand, it's this. If you are going through something similar, whether as a daughter, as a mother, as a wife, as anyone who is being humiliated, disrespected, invisible, know that you don't have to endure it. You don't have to be strong all the time. You may cry. You can make mistakes. You can even swap the guy's gel for glue. Because in the end, what matters is not how you reacted. It's just that you reacted, and that you didn't let injustice destroy you. I was 11 years old when my mother discovered that my father was cheating on her, and I was 11 years old when I learned the most important lesson of my life. The truth always finds a way to scream, and when she screams, everyone hears.